everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Teddy, as always. I feel like my dogs are always in my videos. But in today's video, I wanted to do a little bit of book shopping, as well as I wanted to share with you where I ended up with my April TBR. I did read 3 books and I did DNF 1. So I'll give you guys a little bit of my reactions on those, and it will be spoiler free. So it'll mostly be about how I felt about the books, but I'll try to keep it to where I don't spoil it for anyone. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. And now my angel baby has joined us as well. She's such a good girl. I love her so much. So now I know you're wondering, what did I end up picking up at these different stores? So I'll start off with Barnes & Noble. I ended up picking up these books by Penelope Douglas. Now, all of these I've read before. So these are books that I've reread so many times and only in ebook format, and I needed to own them. So I ended up finding them here at Barnes & Noble, and I was super excited because, for one, I've only seen the original covers and I'm obsessed with the new covers. I think they're just very cute and just very like subtle, and it doesn't give too much away on the plot or anything like that. So I was super excited. So the first book is Bully by Penelope Douglas. This is the first book of this series. The next one is Rival. another great book, Falling Away, and Until You. All of these I loved. I don't even know how many times I've read all of these, but to tell you that every time I read them, I still get the same kind of like butterflies. I feel the same excitement when I read them. I highly recommend them to anyone who hasn't had a chance to pick them up. So now let's talk about the books I picked up at Poppers. Now these specifically, I think 3 of them, I've never read anything by those particular writers. This is actually going to be probably the first book into their works. So I'm super excited about that. And then one of them, actually, I've read countless times. It's one of my favorite mafia romances. And I just had to have it in my collection. So that's why it came home with me. But let's start with A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. And honestly, the reason I picked it up, it was because of the cover. I thought it was so cute. It was giving rom-com vibes, and I'm super excited about that because honestly, I think I need a little bit of that after the reads that I had for the month of April. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. The next one, it just seems so interesting. I don't think I've seen any reviews on this particular book, so I picked it up. But again, look at the stunning cover. It says, "So Let Them Burn." I think even the title is kind of, honestly, it's giving back, if I'm being honest. So I'm super excited about that. And it says on the back that there is nothing that Farron won't do for her sister. And it seems like it is a fantasy. It does seem that it has dragons, which is another plus. I love books that have dragons in them. And it does seem that there is a war ongoing in this book. So I'm super excited because, as always, I'm huge into fantasy. So this is going to be definitely on my TBR coming up soon. The next book, I don't know if anybody here is a Wicked fan, but I am. I think that Wicked is one of the best movies I've watched in a long time. I wish and I hope that one day I can go see the Broadway show. But for now, we'll take the movie, we'll take the music, and we'll take the books. And I picked up Alfie's A Wicked Childhood, and I'm super excited because I feel like this is supposed to give us more of Alphaba's side of being raised and her experiences and everything like that. So I'm super excited to check it out. And also, I felt like I hadn't seen this for any of these before. It has these beautiful sprayed edges. So I'm super excited to have this to my collection. And finally, the mafia romance that I love and adore, The Sweetest Oblivion. And this is by Danielle Laurie. I've read this book numerous times. It is such a good entry-level dark romance in my opinion. I'm pretty sure it is. I think it's a really good entry-level dark romance, if I'm being honest, just because it gives you a little bit of mafia, it gives you a little bit of possessiveness, a little bit of jealousy, but not too over the top, which sometimes you just want a little bit of a balanced book. Sometimes you don't want it to be too like cringy when it comes to the dark side of everything. So if you haven't read it before, I highly recommend it. It is one of my top rereads as well. And then I ended up stopping at Target. And for Target, I did not have plans to pick up anything there. However, when you're in Target and, you find yourself in the book aisle, yeah, you're going to pick up a book and you're going to take it home with you. So I have seen this one everywhere. I've never read anything by this writer, and it seemed so good when I saw it there. I think it falls into the young adult category, and it's definitely fantasy. And it's called Firebird, and it's by Juliet Cross. I don't know. I'm obsessed with the cover, as well as I'm obsessed with the sprayed edges. It's a dragon. What did I say earlier? I love a story with the dragon. Especially fantasy. So I'm super excited to read it. And from what it seems, let's see. I didn't read the back of the book whenever I picked it up. I was going off vibes only. But it seems like there's a deep connection with this dragon and kind of her developing a relationship and a bond with him in the middle of this war-driven world. So I am excited to check that one out as well. Hopefully it's good. If you've read it, let me know if you liked it. but I'm super excited to check it out. But those were the books that I ended up picking up during my book shopping in honor of Independent Bookstore Day. And now I want to talk about the books that I read in the month of April. The first book I read in the month of April was Icebreaker, and this is by Hannah Grace. I think this is a very popular book, if I'm being honest. I think I've seen quite a few people review this, but I'll tell you what I felt when reading this book. So in this book, we're kind of following the story of Anastasia and this hockey player that she now has to forcefully interact with, who is named Nate. And Anastasia is kind of in the process of trying to win this very, very prestigious competition. And her partner does not like her man. That's kind of the vibe of the book, right? So that's kind of what I got from it. And so their story continues. I won't go into what it was about, but when it comes to the plot, I thought it wasn't bad. It was good. I thought that it was fun. I thought it was spicy, definitely spicy. Warning to anybody who doesn't like that. And one thing I did feel that I didn't like was that it felt very long. I didn't feel like it needed to be this long. I feel like there was a lot of filler into this book that was unneeded. I feel like you could have cut to the chase after a certain point. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was not bad at all. And I think, if I remember correctly, I rated it 3 stars. So that's how I felt about this book. Overall, not bad read at all to start off a month for April. And then after reading such a fun, good time book, I decided to pick up The Handmaid's Tale. And I know a lot of people have probably seen the series, probably read the book, but this book really had me afraid. And it was just the context of the story, kind of like, you know, where June's story takes her, or where women are in this society of Gilead. And what really, really drove it home for me really was the bonus information that the actual writer shared when it came to how she wrote this story, and the fact that it was all based on things that have already happened really, really kind of just, it made me realize how no matter what age, what day and age, I guess you could say, it is, women have always gone through something in the real world. And I think this story really illustrates where we could find ourselves yet again if we don't learn from our mistakes. So I think this story was absolutely amazing. Definitely one that gives you a lot to think about after you've read it. And I did rate it 5 stars. Now, after reading that, I tried to pick up a lighthearted romance because I needed a break from all the heavy. I wanted to just giggle and laugh and kick back and have a good time. So I picked up Fly With Me, and this is by Andy Burke. And I really, really, really tried to get into it. I genuinely did. So for one, it is a romance, and it does have to do with elements of grief. So, you know, I feel like the mix of both of those was a little hard to tie in together. Not that grief can't be found in romance books for me. They definitely can, but I just felt like the beginning of this book took a really long time to kind of give us what was going on, where the grief was coming from. And then the connection between the two love interests, I wasn't feeling it. It felt very unrealistic. I think that's what kind of turned me off on the actual plot of the story. So I did end up DNFing it. Now, when I DNF a book, it does not mean that I won't try to pick it up at a later date. I definitely do always try to give every book I DNF a second opportunity. So I will be adding it back onto my TBRs just in case it was just my mood. I wasn't really feeling it at the moment. And, you know, if you've read it before and you feel completely different from me, please share your thoughts down in the comments. But that's just how I felt about this book, unfortunately. Currently, that's how I feel about this book. So maybe in a later day, I'll change my mind and I'll feel differently. And then finally, I picked up this book. This book I've seen everywhere. This book is highly, highly rated. A lot of people love it. So if you're in that group of people who have read this book and really, really enjoyed it, don't take anything I'm saying as kind of hate for this book. It's just more how I felt about it. So to start off with, I did rate this book a 3.75. So I did not rate this low at all. Like, this is a good book. It could have been a 4-star read, even a 5-star read, but I'll explain to you why it wasn't. So to start off with, the plot of the story is absolutely amazing. I think the battle, the war, the powers, or the magic system within this story is great. It was honestly great. I did love the main female character lead in the story a lot at the beginning of the book. Okay, let's start off with that. I loved her at the beginning of the book. She was defiant. She was just an amazing character who tooth and nail was fighting to kind of come up and beyond her circumstances, right? And you feel that within the first 25 to 30% of the book, okay? Then something happens at that 40% mark, in my opinion, where the main female character lead of this book, it just becomes a whiner. She loses all of that amazing, fearless tenacity that she had at the beginning of the book at 40% of the book. And she becomes this like, oh my God, I'm so afraid. Oh my God, I can't do it. Oh my God. Like, it was over and over and over again. That's what I was listening to or reading in this book. And it really irked my nerves because Ren, that's not you. Ren, that's not you. But that's who she became in this book. And it really, really disappointed me a lot. Now, another thing that really bothered me was that Ren was making some really stupid mistakes. Like, some of these things, I was just like, come on now. Like, in this book, she has a mentor. And I don't even know how many times Ren does not heed his warning. Okay, a choice. Your choice. Get it. Now, another thing I hated was to see her absolutely loving certain characters in this book that I was just like, he's not that great. But that's how I felt. I was very frustrated. I was very frustrated about that. And then in the last 10% of the book, I think we started to come back on track. We started to kind of see Ren find that I'm not going to be afraid of anything, right? And I'm going to take my destiny and I'm going to do something with it, right? Okay. You see that in the last 10% of the book, but still, for me, Ren doesn't have her like come back for me. Now, I know there's 2 more books in the series. So I might be saying a lot by just reading book 1, but that's what I feel right now. That's what I feel right now. And I feel like I should be honest. So once I start the second book and hopefully finish the third book, I hope to feel differently. However, I do think I need to read something different in the interim. That's what I'm going to do, because I also don't like to read a book after kind of feeling that way about the first one, because then I feel like I'm not going to love it. Because at that point, I just kind of have like my mind made up. Like, you kind of trashed it, right? Like, I don't want to feel like that. So I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to read the second book straight away. But that's how I felt about this book. I felt a lot. But like I said, I loved it though. I loved it. It was a good ride. It was a 3.75 for me. It could have been a 4 or a 5, but that really killed it for me. Specifically, her character development kind of taking a nosedive. But overall, I still enjoyed the read. So I am going to look forward to reading books 2 and 3 of that series. And I'll keep you guys updated on that. But those were the books that I read for the month of April. I think that was quite a bit. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That's my honest feedback on all of these. And I'll see what I read for May. I think I need to finish off some of the books that I had in my TBR for April, specifically Dune. I do feel like I will be picking up Dune in the month of May, but I do feel like I will be doing a lot more mood reading in the month of May versus selecting books for myself. So that was it for me today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, I invite you to hit the like button down below. It really does help my channel. As well as if you've read any of the books that I shared with you today, I would love to see you in my comments sharing your thoughts and maybe opinions on some of those reads. And also, if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do so for more bookish content. But hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one.